Welcome to Crafty Christie's Creations how-to video. Today I am going to show you how to assemble this beautiful flower pot pop-up card. You can see I've got all the pieces cut out here. You've got your couple little pieces that make up the pot, and then this makes up your inner layers. You've got your flowers, and then I cut out a little sentiment and the other pieces here. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've got some walnut stained distress ink, and I'm going to use that on my pot pieces to help add some definition. So I've got my little dauber here. I'm just going to ink it up. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come around on the edges, and I'm just going to go all the way around on my edges, and this is just going to add a little extra definition to our card. This is definitely optional, but I think it makes a huge difference. You can see I'm not applying a whole bunch of ink, but just enough right around the edge. Okay, and because this one's going to fold down, I'm also going to apply ink on this edge. So then when it's folded, oh, and you know what? Let's apply ink. I did that wrong. So if it's going to fold down this way, you want to apply ink on this side. So probably fold it down first so you know which side it's folding to, so you don't end up inking up the wrong side. Not a big deal. Just go back around. Okay. And a little bit more. And just on the inside of the edges to give it a little halo effect. So I'm actually just running and putting ink kind of on, but off the edge a little. The inking techniques just take some practice. So don't worry if it doesn't look awesome the first time or two. Takes a lot of practice to get really good at inking, and I'm not that great at it either. I haven't practiced enough. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing with our other piece. So this time I'm going to fold this first so I make sure I get the correct side. I'm going to start with this edge. And then you always have one that looks better than the other, so whichever one looks better, put that one on the front. Okay. So again, I'm just kind of going at a bit of an angle here. So I'm using distress ink, but you can obviously do this with any kind of ink that you have. Doesn't have to be a distress ink, but that's what I had on hand, and that's what I'm used to using, so that's what I'm going to use. Okay, let's do this edge a little bit more. So I'm inking because you can see that gives it a little bit more definition to that. All right, we can put this away. All right, from here, the only thing we have to do is just assemble everything together. So, zoom in here. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my little rectangle. I'm gonna fold on all the score lines. So on this, you'll see how this side is rounded and this side is squared. The rounded edge is gonna go underneath, so it'll tuck in. It's not as large as this, so this one's gonna go underneath. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on this. See, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've got this little shot glass here holding my glue, and I've noticed that this is an awesome trick to keep the glue running and to not have to worry about it clogging up all the time. So I picked this up from watching a couple other crafters on YouTube, so awesome trick. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna slide that into place, and I want this edge to line up with this edge nice and flush. And they should also be flush up and down. And this is thick enough you can stick your fingers in there. Give that a good press for a second. Okay. And then this is the center of our box, so you maybe want to fold it flat and then also try it the other direction. And that's how it'll work in our card. Okay, so let's go ahead and assemble our flowers. I made all of mine the same color, and there's going to be 2 petal pieces to each one. And I am going to pop up my petals. This is just like 3M foam tape. And I'm just going to cut little pieces, and then I'm only going to put a piece of foam just right in the center. So I'm just going to cut some small pieces of foam. So you want this to be hidden under the other parts of your petals. And then when I go to line up my petals, I'm going to stagger them. Normally daisies don't line up perfectly, so I'm just staggering them a little bit. Okay, there's one, and then I'm just going to keep doing that. Got some tape here. All right, and then I'm going to go through with my glue and put the centers. Okay, we've got those put together. All right, now let's look at, actually, let's go ahead and glue this part down so it has time to settle. So I just added this extra flap on here so that way when you fold it down, you get some extra dimension. Otherwise, it just gives it a little more dimension having this extra flap, and then you can also ink that edge. Okay. All right, let's move that out of the way. Those out of the way. Okay. So we've got our 3 flat pieces here. This is our center piece. It has fold lines on the side. This is our tall piece that goes in the back. and this is the short piece that goes in the front. You can see they all have a little circular area. You want to line up kind of the center or the circle part of your daisy to line up on there. That way there's no extra green hanging out around the edges. So all the flower pieces are the same size, so it does not matter which petal you add to which piece. So this one's got 3. So I'm gonna put my glue on these petals. Actually, I'm gonna glue the side. I'm gonna save that middle one for the last one, and then they can get a layering effect with these as well. And I'm not being super particular about getting that. Let's see if I flip it over. I'm not super particular about getting the center of the daisy over the center of this part here, but it's just a good kind of eyeball to give you guidance. Put a little bit more here just in case that part dried. And then this one, I'm gonna try to bend these pieces up a little bit, and I'm gonna stack that one in front. If you wanted to, you could also assemble down one layer of your petals and glue those down, and then glue your next layer down, and then you can intertwine these layers to get even more dimension. But there is one done. Once you get these kind of pieced together to the petals, this comes together really quickly. I think what takes the longest is probably the inking. Okay. Okay, all right, now you take your little piece here, the tall one, you're gonna put glue on the back, and it's gonna slide into the back side of here, and then it's gonna go all the way down, and the bottom should be flush. And then your front daisies, you're gonna put the glue on the front here, and this will slide in all the way down the front, and then again, flush at the bottom, and that'll glue in there. Okay, and then the middle piece we'll do in a second. So just put some glue. Here. Okay. Oh my gosh, I just put glue on the wrong side. It's one of those kind of days, I tell ya. Let's see, what do I have to scrape glue? Let's glue the front. So do as I say, not as I show you, since I'm doing it the wrong way. It's all right. Crafting was never meant to be perfect. So I'm just gonna slide this in. And sometimes it's easier if you just stand it up. As you push that down, then it goes all the way flush to the table, and then you're able to stick your fingers in there. And then just press that down. And then you can flatten it and press it down. Okay, go the other direction, flatten it down. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, let's see if we can, the nice part is that that glue, no one's ever going to see it. So I will just make sure it's good and dry before I really fold this card up. So put the glue on the back side of this one. You're going to stuff it in the back side here. And now my fingers are gonna get really gluey. That's okay. Getting that flush. So flush, it should be flush at the top and flush here at the bottom. And then again, you can fit your fingers in there and really press those together. Fold it to the side, press, fold it the other way and press again. That way you make sure everything is seated well. Okay. All right, now for our inner tab. So fold these tabs backwards. And then you're gonna put glue on this side of the tab and it's gonna set in there, and this side will go flush up against the back of this. So I'm gonna put glue on both sides. And these side tabs will set up against the side walls. Okay. Again, I'm pushing it as far back as I can. Standing it up, pushing it down all the way on both sides. And then pushing it towards the back wall. This one's a little bit harder. You can't really get your finger in there. But you should be able to get your bone folder or something inside there to get all the pieces pressed together and pressed down so it's in the correct spot. All right, and then that puts it in the center. Okay, so that's what it looks like so far. And then we are almost done. So you've got this little sentiment. Whoops. Sorry. You've got this little, you've got a couple print and cut sentiments. There's one that says happy birthday, one that says happy Mother's Day, and one that says sending well wishes. You may need to resize those a little bit to fit on the scallop perfectly to your liking. And then this is your standard little print and cut feature here. So on your Cricut, you'll have to flatten these two pieces so you can print and cut. And then on your silhouette, you can just lay them on top of each other, group them together as you move them around. Use your registration marks to turn this into a print and cut. And then I'm going to choose, I think this is the better of the two. I'm going to put this one on the front. and then that'll just go on there like that. You can also resize the scallop if you want it a little bit smaller so it's only on the bottom half. You can make it a little bit smaller. Actually, this one, even like this, it'll fit. It'll fit on there just like that. And I'm just gonna glue this one straight down. Okay, this one we will center on the front. So I'm going to put my glue on here. So I'm just kind of eyeballing the center. Again, the base of your card and your little pot there should be flush up against, and then I'm going to lift up the bottom of these flowers, sneak that up under there, and let's see if I can't eyeball the center. And then just kind of stand them up, push everything down, make sure everything's flush that direction. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing on the back. So this is kind of a mini pop-up, meaning that this part here isn't very big, but it's tall enough that it will fit in your standard 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 envelope when it is all done. And I'm going to try to push these down and line up, kind of eyeball those front and back pop pieces together, so they look like they go together. And then you can kind of flatten and really press everything. Fold the other direction to really flatten everything down. Okay, and then it's done. So like I said, it'll fit in your normal 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 envelope. You'll just fold to one side. It's a pretty tight fit. Now, these top flowers are a little bit flimsy, so when you go to put it in your card, you may want to put an extra layer of cardstock or something in here to kind of help so these don't get torn when they're going in and out of the envelope. All right, there you go. Thanks for watching. If you'd like more information or if you're interested in purchasing this design, head over to my website at craftychristiescreations.com. Until next time, with love, Crafty Christy.